Hello everyone. Today I am going to talk about an important topic which is close to my heart, and that is, why do students date Netflix but hate studies? There are many important reasons to that, but I will try to touch base on the important aspects. In 1088 AD, University of Bologna was set up, and that was the first university in the Western world. Students at this university will hire a professor, take his lectures and pay money. If students like the lectures, they will hire the professor again, otherwise the professor will be terminated. Students were the boss. But gradually, good professors came together and they turned the table around as it is today. Ironically, students were still paying the money, but the recipient of the money became the boss. If you see, this is contrary to any other job on this planet. In a structure like this, the accountability of educators to satisfy students is not very high. And so you can imagine what is going to happen. Problems are bound to be there. Another big problem with the education system is that we think that teaching is a simple, unskilled job. If a student in a college wants to make some money by doing something part-time, what does he do? Teach, right? Very often. If there is a fresher out of college and is still unemployed, what does he do to make ends meet till he gets a job? Teach many times, right? If amateurs like this are able to do this job of teaching, then it must mean that teaching is a simple, unskilled job, right? No. We all can take photographs from our mobile phones. But does it mean that we are expert photographers? Does it mean that highly experienced, highly paid photographers should be doomed, who can actually create magic with a single click? Remember playing that great shot in gully cricket? Does it mean that we are great cricketers? There must be some difference between playing gully cricket and facing Shoaib Akhtar in international cricket, isn't it? I think I made you understand my point. And if that's not the case, let me tell you my own story. Towards the end of 2009, I was working in Texas Instruments as an engineer. Texas Instruments is one of the best technology companies in the world. I decided to quit my job and go to Kota to teach. Kota is a small town in North India which is famous for teaching IIT JEE aspirants. I was sure that I will be a great teacher because I myself had cleared IIT JEE exam with flying colors. On the top of this, I was always very good in academics, due to which I had taught my friends, siblings, juniors, here and there on ad hoc basis, as many of us do. And they all liked my teaching style. On the top of that, I was at the peak of my career at that point of time. So I was very confident. To give you some backdrop, in last 3 to 4 years, I had filed 13 patents, which was a rare feast. In 2008 and 9, when financial crisis was there throughout the world and people were being laid off, I got one of the best hikes, amazing bonus. So my confidence was very high. I was doing one of the toughest things one can do on this planet, doing tech research. Bring it on, teaching will be a piece of cake for me. I'm going to kill it. But 2 weeks in Kota, and my chest, inflated with arrogance, completely shrunk. I was extremely mesmerized and scared at the same time. Mesmerized because I had not seen that level of education ever before in my life, despite the fact that I had gone to best of the colleges and schools. And scared because I did not know how I am going to match the same level, and in fact, even surpass that, because I was very competitive and ambitious. Then it took me intense labor for next few years to reach to the level where I could be proud, where I could say I'm one of the best. I understood how neurons of brains work when you try to learn. I understood how mind of students react on each and every statement which comes from the educator's side. In fact, that's a long story in itself, that how to teach well. But if I want to summarize that in just a few lines, I can say that to be a great educator or to be a great teacher, you need to be 3 in 1. Number 1, Einstein, the subject expert. Number 2, Sigmund Freud, the psychologist. Number 3, Charlie Chaplin, the entertainer. It's not that easy to be that 3 in 1. But if you can get it inside you, you can create magic to learners. Once I was able to do that, I had even taught thousands of students in one big classroom. The students will line outside the class to fill the seats. Once the seats would be over, students would be sitting all around on floor, windows, all around the podium. I would be barely able to walk. When I will finish a class of 2 hours, students will say that they want to learn more. There will be hundreds of students waiting outside the class because there was no space inside. In fact, all this is a very satisfying experience as well. Because when you teach well, you get a lot of love and respect from students. They in fact even start worshipping you. Let me tell you a small story. Once I went to a mall in Kota, in the region where students used to live in hostels. Because I was a popular educator there, so the news of my coming to the mall spread around among students. In half an hour or 1 hour, some, 500,000 odd students packed the whole mall just to see me. It was such a humbling and overwhelming experience. On the walls of the coaching institute where I used to teach, students had written, Neetin Agrawal, God of Physics. I'm no God of Physics for sure. But once you learn how to make others learn, then you can always create a perception that you are God of that subject. People sometimes tell that physics is boring, maths is boring, economics is boring, history is boring. No subject is boring. If physics would be boring, Newton will not give his life to the subject. If maths would be boring, Ramanujan will not give his life to maths. Romila Toppr will not give her life to history if history will be boring. No subject is boring. If you learn how to teach well, you can make any subject as addictive as Netflix or any other OTT platform. One of the disappointing things which I see is that many intellectuals today believe that the human mind cannot actually focus on learning for more than 7 minutes, or maybe at the max say 10 minutes. Beyond that, if you try to teach the mind anything or you throw any new information towards the mind reflects it. It can't absorb it. In fact, there are some research as well in the West which sort of suggests the same thing. But I ask this question, that is the world-conquering human mind really so weak? If the mind cannot focus for more than 7 to 10 minutes, then how can it focus on a 3-hour movie completely? How can a child play computer games without interruption for long durations? If you ask a child who's playing computer game and you tell him to stop, he will tell you 10 minutes more, and those 10 minutes will never be over. How can a painter get completely lost for hours while painting a masterpiece? I think that if this 7-minute theory would have been true, many things in the world would have been very different. Think about Alexander the Great. He's fighting a fierce battle of life and death. His sword is dancing all around, killing people here and there. But after a few minutes, he loses focus because mind cannot focus beyond certain minutes. And the same happens with everybody else. So they all go on rest. After some time, they come back and again fight for 7 to 10 minutes, and the process keeps repeating. Sounds funny, isn't it? Movies should then have breaks after every 7 to 10 minutes. A chess master who keeps thinking for hours that what should be his next move should take very frequent breaks. Right? Now the question arises that when human mind is able to focus on other aspects of human life for longer durations, then why do we tend to believe that the same cannot happen in education? Let me try to explain. Suppose you are watching a movie which is not good, or a movie in an unknown language which you don't understand, how long can you tolerate that movie for? Maybe a few minutes? Or let me ask you even a better question. Suppose you go to a stand-up comedy show and after 7 to 10 minutes you lose your focus, you are not able to concentrate. What does it mean about that show? But on the other side, if you go to a different show of same kind, but you completely lose track of time, what does that mean? Right? When you don't like a movie, whom do you blame? The movie maker or the viewer? So I hope you understood my point, that human brain is not able to focus more than few minutes if things are irrelevant or boring. Otherwise, it can actually focus for much longer durations. Think about the effort which goes in making a movie of 2 hours. Hundreds of crores of rupees, very talented crew working for months or years, right? Think about the effort which goes into creating an addictive computer game. Some of the best engineers on the planet working for months, tons of money. Now compare it with the effort which goes on in making a 2 hours lecture or a 1 hour lecture for students in a general traditional situation. There's no comparison at all. Due to this, the quality of education in general is not that great. And when you test the ability of human mind with that quality, 7 to 10 minutes is all that you are going to get. If you are not able to engage the learner's mind for longer time, let's not blame the human brain on the recipient side. This 7 to 10 minutes theory is rather a dangerous theory for mankind. Ask any artist like musician, painter, poet, or even a scientist. They will tell you that they love to get lost for large duration of time, for hours maybe, in their craft. Because that is how human mind creates magic. If we are telling our next generation that they can't focus or learn for more than few minutes, we are actually handicapping them. And let me tell you, students are actually born curious. I've worked with small kids. They ask so many questions, why this, why that? But it is an irony of our system that when we send the same kids to educational institutes so that they can learn and satisfy their curiosity, they start fearing learning. And that is because we are not educating them the right way. If we want to engage the learners, especially the teens, we need to compete with a lot of things in current world. 45,000 Facebook employees who are working day and night to make Facebook more and more addictive. And obviously, Facebook is just one of the many social platforms. So many addictive computer games and other sports. Opposite sex, obviously, at that age, that is one of the things at the top of the mind. So many free entertainment content all around on Netflix and so many other platforms. We as educators really need to work harder and pull our socks. But the future is bright, especially with the arrival of EdTech. Because with the arrival of EdTech, so the best human brains are now currently working in education system, and that too at large scale. Whenever that happens to any sector, that sector starts exploding in all the aspects, including quality. Look at technology. Why technology is growing at such a fast rate? Every day you have a new version of mobile phone, and the mobile phone which you bought last month looks outdated. Because some of the best human brains end up working in technology. The same is happening with education currently because of arrival of EdTech. And so I'm pretty sure that we are already on that path where very soon learning will be as addictive, as fun, as engaging as any anything else on this planet. With that, I would like to end my talk. Thank you very much.